What is up, internets? How are you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful, amazing, awesome day today. We are getting ready, and it's that special time of day again. Time to do some animation. So for today's inspiration, I grabbed out one of my favorite books. This is Drawn to Life. As you can see, it's definitely well worn, gotten a lot of use. I think the spine's cracked in a couple places here. But this is by Walt Stanchfield, and he did a bunch of lectures for Disney animators, where he just collected things that inspired him, or sketches, or a lot of the stuff is really gesture drawing, which is just trying to get the quick idea or thought behind a pose, you know, what the real meaning or heart of it is, and finding that and doing it quickly. And that helps to get a lot of life in your drawings and anything. But I wanted to read to you something about enthusiasm. So here goes. Your mental and emotional processes are what motivates you. And without motivation, you would accomplish nothing. And without enthusiasm, motivation would atrophy before you could make a quick sketch. Your mind is like a projector. Whatever you choose to put into it is what will be seen on the screen. The choice is yours and yours alone. The switch is motivation, and the electricity that keeps the whole show moving along is enthusiasm. So, going forward today, let's keep in mind, you know, what you put in is what you can put out, and try and have motivation and enthusiasm for your work all the time. But seriously, this book is awesome, and I'm sure I'll try and do some more from this book as we go along, but just check out those beautiful sketches. Some great stuff by some wonderful, wonderful animators and artists and illustrators and just overall creative people. And there's stuff from the greats. I think, if I remember correctly, there's some Frank Thomas and Milt Kahl stuff in here. And I think they even get into some of the later stuff where they do... oh, I'm blanking on names. Why am I doing that? I think they have some Tim Burton sketches in here, and the guy I really like, whose name I can't think of right now. But anyways, grab this book, get yourself a copy. I'll throw a link in the comments below so you can do that, but this is a great book that I've used as reference and used as inspiration quite often, and great to just have to read as you know, bring along with you for when you got an extra moment and you're not sketching yourself. So that being said, let's get into today's animation. We are going to use a new rig, keeping up with this series that we're doing where we grab a fresh rig that we've never used before and give ourselves about an hour to play around with it and see what kind of animation we can get out of it. Try and learn a little bit more about developing our skills with different rigs and different ways that rigs work, and trying to keep our creative mind going and our juices flowing. Excuse me, I got the hiccups today. So that we can keep creating and build a lifestyle that's developing, creation and inspiration wherever we go, and that we can kind of access that easier. So that when the muses don't favor us as well, we can still try and go there. So anyways, this is the, what's the name of it? I believe it's the Creator Bot, or CareBot. And it's from Creative Crash. So I'll put a link to this rig down below. I did kind of reskin it a little bit. I liked the coloring better. Just messing with the coloring a little bit better than what came stock with it. But you can definitely grab this rig there. There'll be a link to it in the description below if you want one. Go ahead and download it. And whatever animation you do, feel free to share it and we can talk about it on the channel. And if you do have any other animation or you want an extra set of eyes on your work, always I'm open. Just shoot me a message or a link to it in any of the comments below, and we can kind of break it down and talk about it as well, and maybe get each other some ideas, or just have a look, or just get your name out there for whatever you're working on as well. So I have never used this rig before, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of animation we can get out of it. This is Maya 2014, by the way. So if you're looking to see what program this was, I usually use 2010, but a lot of these newer rigs that we're using lately, let's see, there are not a lot of controllers on this, so this might be a short video today. Let's see, what does this do? Translate E, translate Y. just got to see what we can get out of this rig. And all the different rigs have different options and everything with them, so we want to see if we can get something fun and something good out of it. And the initial pose is really important. Oh, that's kind of cool. We can translate the arms down, so let's give them a little bit longer arms. See if we can get some creative posing out of here. There are not a lot of options with this one, but that's okay. If this is the rig we got, then this is the rig we'll work with. We're going to push that out a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so like I said, there's not a lot that we really have for options for this rig, so this probably won't be as long of a video as usual, but that's okay. We'll try and see if we can get some extra life and character out of this guy. So I'll go ahead and we'll set a key on 1, and then we'll go ahead and file, save as. It's always good to save and save often so you don't lose your work. Get in the habit, get in the practice of saving multiple different files and saving often too. It'll definitely help you out a whole lot. And let's see. We're just gonna save this as okay. And since we don't have that many controllers here, I'm just gonna take it from where we have key everything on 1. It down over to 48. Okay. Maybe we'll have it just do little bounces. Practice some bounce animation here. Because we don't have a lot of controllers, so we got to work with what we got. Going to be way too floaty. Okay. Let's pop open our graph editor here, and we'll get into our translate. Translate X instead of Z, but that's okay. Hope you guys are enjoying this series. If you do, remember to throw me some thumbs up. Let me know what you're liking, what you're disliking. If you have any ideas or suggestions or things we could do better or things that you think just aren't working, definitely let me know. And I'm happy to add new stuff or take stuff away if it's not something that is appealing or is as strong as it could be, or we have some new ideas or anything. I think it's always good to have an open mind as a creative person to other ideas and to different ways of doing things. I think that's an important skill to learn and cultivate in your life, where you always have a feeling what better can I do? What can I learn from this person? What can I learn from other people? What can I share? I think sharing is a big thing that that people should really work on in their creative process, because no one's going to be able, if you're a creative person, no one's going to be able to think exactly like you. So sharing how you do things is just going to allow other people to get inspired and try new things and get more creative themselves, and it'll grow community better that way. I think that's the way I try to go. Oh, cool. There's a drag up. Cool. Squish it down there, drag it up there. Just gonna play around until we start developing our idea a little bit better. I think I want to keep it translate wide there. You just want to keep those jumps a little bit quicker and keep it on the ground a little bit more here. This might be too much. We'll figure it out here. But those jumps are feeling way too floaty. So we'll need to make sure we kind of get it a little bit better than that. Hold it to 26, and then come down here, punch that to 0, and come over here, keep that 0, and 0. Okay, so let's watch how that feels. And then what we'll do is we'll rotate the Z this way. And go. Wish there was a better rotate so we could do some rotate forward up here. But there isn't, so that's okay. I'm gonna squish it down there so it's almost like it's anticipating that move up. Down there again. I'll have to go really clean that up a lot. So we make sure that we're hitting that stuff a little better. So we want to overshoot there. That's what we missed there. And then have it hit. And come back up a little bit. there's a little too much rotate though. Save what we got here, and let's getting a little bit of lag, so it's going to make it a little more difficult, but that's okay. And then I'll rotate these. For some reason it's not letting me do this. Give me 1 second here. Just gonna pause the video, give me 1 second here. Okay, sorry about that. Now let's get back into what we're doing here. Make sure we're still recording. Yep. Looks like those arms are gonna have a little bit of problem animating in the rig, so we'll just carry on from there though. But I was able to figure out that, see this guy, he just does not like doing that. So I'll have to just do the animation on this. Let's see. And let's find this bend here. Alright, 1 second here. Okay, just had to revert to an older version. For some reason this rig's having some real troubles here. So we'll have to see if we might have to go with a different rig for today, unfortunately. This guy seems like he might be having too much trouble. But we'll see, we'll try to push through. I was able to find a nice bend that'll work, so that's kind of nice. But I think the arms we're going to be a little bit gimped with, unfortunately. Seems like those aren't rigged completely fully. But we'll see if we can still push through with this and get something that's looking good for today's animation. And we're probably going to come into contact with this kind of thing when we're just grabbing some free rigs and using them. But I think that's kind of adds to the fun. It adds to an extra challenge with, okay, well if we don't have that, how can we still make this an appealing animation and still have fun with it? And still learn something from it, and hopefully get something that still looks appealing out at the end. So let's see what we can figure out here. just getting some errors before, so as long as we can at least avoid having to do that. Let's check those arms. Yep. Okay, this is going to be too much. I'll go ahead and squish it down a little bit. Reduce that, because we do want some of that drag and everything there. I think we want to do the opposite there. So we squish down on the top and drag back as we land. Let's see. And then what we can do, because this should be able, this looks like a keyable attribute that we can actually use, so that's nice. We can drag the arms down and then squash them back up. So we can at least do something with the arms. Unfortunately, these controllers up there seem to kind of be broken, so it won't be able to use those. But that's okay. Limitations sometimes give us different ways to think through problems in there, and that's a good way to think about it rather than think about what can't we do, think about what can we do. This one's a little tough too because it seems to not even play back at speed very well either. But that's okay. I wanted to do this series so that we could show the bumps and the good and the bad there. With the when animating is a little bit harder and it's unforeseen things that you might not know. And we do have a little bit of squash and stretch, which is nice. Offset this a little bit too, and we're probably gonna minimize this, but we'll see if we can at least get something out of this. So let's see, we'll use what controllers we have. Let's see if we can get something appealing out of this guy. I think it's a really cute rig, but it's definitely not as many manipulators as I would like. Or at least as I'm used to. But I think that'll give us a fun challenge for today. Let's delay it about 2 frames on that. Squashing it down here. Squash down there. Raise up there. Squash down there. Raise up there. Squash down there. Raise up there. Squash down there. Basically just redoing the timing a little bit more. And we're gonna minimize that a bit. This is a really cute rig though. So I think that's a fun, the girl that, it might have been a guy, sorry, there was a Christine that was linked to it, it appeared in the information, so I hope I'm not mistaking that for something wrong, but I definitely did a good job making this, aesthetically pleasing rig, that's for sure. I'm having to watch it play back in my recording software rather than live because it seems to be skipping a few frames there, so that's another added fun challenge to today. Let's do let's rotate Z. just go back and we're going to try and make it so it looks like it's hitting the ground a little bit harder. Rotate back at 0 again. Until 0 there. And put the rotate at 0. That way we have like a flat surface as landing, so it has that contact. I think that'll sell the weight a little bit better. See how we did on that. See if that. There we go. That feels like it's contacting a little bit more. I think we'll do a little less on the anticipation for the jump rotate, and a little more on the landing, so the landing feels a little bit harder. Go ahead and turn the rotate wise down a little bit. Let's take the translate Y, squish that down a little bit. Let's go ahead and push that back up again, and maybe we'll just shrink down some of this bend here that we have. Just tone that down a little bit. It's just getting a little too over the top. And I liked all the feel of that, and the idea behind it, but I think it was just a little too much. Shrink the squash and stretch down a little bit more too. So let's see. I'd like to be able to feel those arms a little bit more, so let's exaggerate those again. Take what we have there and exaggerate it a little bit more. And one thing that's good that we can talk about is, you know, overcoming and not getting frustrated with obstacles that you come into when you're animating, because here's a good story. If I could concentrate and tell you. Okay, so I'm just gonna pause what I'm doing here. It was a story that was told to me by... It was either Keith Sinte or Bula Robello. And forgive me, both of you amazing animators, for forgetting which one of you told me the story. I believe it was Keith Sinte, who's an awesome animator. Go check his stuff out. Same with Bula, same with Greg Whitaker, same with a bunch of my amazing people who really taught me animation. James Baxter, beautiful, wonderful animator. When animating, and again, this isn't my story. It's a little bit of, 3 or 4 people down the path here, but I think it's a really good story to talk about since we're coming up with a lot of kind of issues with the rig. When animating Belle from Beauty and the Beast, he had a shot where he was given a certain amount of time. I want to say it was 8 seconds. And he had to get Belle from going outside the house to going past the gate to when she's going into the town, in the little town full of little people, whatever. The beginning song from Beauty and the Beast. Every day like the one before, you know the song. Anyway, so he had a certain amount of frames to do it in, but in order to get that movement, it would have really realistically taken probably 10 seconds, let's just say an extra 48 frames to get all the contacts and the foot moves in the distance that she had to pass without booking it or making it appear too skippy, or like she was just moving unsmoothly or too quickly. And he kept struggling with it and retrying it and going back and forth, and he just had to do it. His lead animators were telling him this is what you have to do, or the directors were telling him this is the amount of time you have, this is what we have to do. So his creative mind went and he said, okay, instead of rather thinking of this as a problem, let's think of what we can do because of those limitations. So he ended up having her spin and turn, and he gave her a bucket to hold. And again, I'm just doing this to illustrate my point about what we're talking about, and we'll get there. So forgive me if mistakes are made in the telling of this, or if it isn't 100% to the T of the story. It was told to me by someone else who was telling their version of it. But it's a good story. It's a really good story. And the heart of it's there. So he gave her a bucket to hold, and he had her spin. And that way there's a move where the bucket spins right in front of the camera, and it allows him to reposition her about 3 steps forward than it would have been otherwise, and it wouldn't look like a skip or a blip or something that would be erratic movement by moving her that far, because you have this almost wiping the screen and then replacing her there in that position so it looked more natural. So it was a way to really think outside the box and come up with a creative solution for a problem that he was experiencing during that time. So definitely go check out James Baxter. Go watch that shot from Beauty and the Beast. It's a really cool way to do it. And that's one of the things I always think about when I'm animating, is put a bucket in front of it. Figure it out, whatever it is that's the issue that's coming up. Try and figure out a creative solution, and don't look at it as I'm gonna get frustrated because this is something that's just not working. No, think about, what can I do with what I have and the time that I have to do it, and how can I come up with a creative solution? So that being said, let me get back into the shot that we're working on today. But I've been wanting to share that story because that was really a good way to think about animation for myself, and a lot of creative solutions for different problems. So I hope maybe that helped to inspire you or get you to try some different stuff in your animation, or think about things differently when you come into different problems that you might have in your animation that you'll come up with. And another principle that I learned when I was going to animation is that you have to own and take charge of the problems that you create. And by that I mean, I picked this rig. This is the rig that I wanted to use for today's video. So rather than complaining or being upset that this rig isn't necessarily the easiest one to use or have the most options that would allow me to give a lot of different, use a lot of different principles or get the smooth animation or the idea I had when I was going to use this rig. But the fact of the matter is I picked it. This is what I have. This is what we have to work with. So you have to own it and take charge of it and do what you can with what you have when you have it. And those arms look better with that timing redone. Let's go ahead. Let's kind of watch it in a 3/4 position. Is there any way we can set a key on these? No. Darn. There's just so many other things I'd like to do, but these aren't really. So what if we took these and we create a locator? And we grab these and we go window. Let's see what we have first. Control S. And window, outliner. Where'd that locator go? Okay, let's try it again. Create locator, pop it up there. Why is that showing up in our outliner here? Display connected? No. Attributes? No. Reference nodes, reference members. There we go. Show objects. See if we can get joints in here. Nope. Show. Candles. Show. Characters. Show. Subdivision objects. Show. Oh, whatever. Okay, so let's grab both of these and shift click them, and then we're gonna shift click that guy, and we're gonna parent them to that. Now, let's see if we can grab that locator and move that up there, and then we can parent the locator to that. Let's see if that works. And then we should be able to where'd it go? Okay. Let's see if we can set a key there. Okay. And we might be able to drag it up there. Yeah, see? Come up with a creative solution. And drag it down. That would get a little overlap in those eyes. So what we did was we just created a locator and we parented the geometry of those eyes to the locator, and then we parented the locator itself to the body. And that let us be able to do that. So maybe we could do that with the arms as well if they won't let us do it. So let's see if that worked. And let's go ahead and plates. And like I said, this is kind of one of those bucket solutions. It's not the perfect way to do this. It's not necessarily the ideal way that I would want to do this shot, but it's a way that we can add this to our shot by thinking outside the box, trying different things, and that way we can give a little more life to it as well. So let's see if that worked. And let's delay it like 2 frames. Let's see. Now you get a little bit of drag in those eyes as well. Maybe we can scale them up a little bit here. Might be a little too much. I think we just wanted to do like maybe like that. Scale back to 1, 1, 1. Maybe we can. Whoa! And then we'll go ahead and scale them back. Gotta be careful about that. And scale them back down. Scale back up. Back down. Back up. Switch it back to 1.1, 1.1, and 1.1. Back down to 1.1. Okay, let's see if that helped us. Let's watch it from the front. Now we got some bouncy eyes there. And we want to take the scale. And I think we'll go ahead and we will shrink it down a little bit more. And then switch the frames that it happens on. I think we'll squash them a little bit too. Let's see. That way we can get a little bit of that in there. Okay. I do feel like this is still pretty busy, so I think we're going to tone a lot of this down still here. Let's see. I can't tell if it's busy because it's a little choppy because the playback's a little choppy. It's going to be one of those ones that I'll have to watch a little bit after the video today to make sure that the playback is still really smooth, because unfortunately it's not letting me have a non kind of rendered mode. Let's just try watching it in wireframe. I feel like those hands are okay. Switch it back on to here. I think I'll tone down the down positions on there. Just felt like they were hitting a little bit too hard, so let's see. Yeah, see, that's almost clipping the ground there, so we don't want that. Just do something like that. Okay, so go ahead and save what we have, and I think I'm going to see if we can get some better movements in these arms as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and do what we did before, and we're going to create a locator and pull it up here. And we're going to save our file one more time just in case. And then we're going to grab that arm there and that locator, and we're going to parent it to that. to grab locator 2. And we're gonna, that way we can get a little bit drag down in like a shoulder there. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. So set that there. Drag down in the shoulder there. Raise it up again. And drag down there. And actually, no, it's fine. Just keep going. Could have parented both of these arms together since we're not doing that. See, now we get a little bit from up top too. So let's watch it kind of like frame by frame here. It's alright, I think we can tone it down a little bit though. This is a good lesson in practicing parenting and constraints today. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to go create another locator. This guy, and shift click the locator, go ahead and parent those two together. Grab the locator and translate it back down into there. See if those two arms kind of match up there. I think it needs to go down a little bit lower. Insert, we'll put that back up there, and hit insert again, and then we're going to take the locator as long as we got those arms pretty set up to be balanced and even, and we're going to go ahead and grab that guy and parent the locator to the chest, and now we should be able to set a key on that locator. And what do we have going down over here? And back up. And down. And back up. And down. And back up again. And down. And back up. Okay. Cool. Different solution for the problem. I'm sure there's a bunch of different ways we could have gone into that, but at least that gives us a little more animation in that upper arm, so it looks a little less stiff. Feels like there's actually like a kind of a joint there, at least a drag for kind of a shoulder. And let's go ahead and check that out and see how we're doing. Give me 1 second here. And we're back. Remember to keep in mind what we started with today, which was looking at some enthusiasm and motivation. Keep yourself inspired, keep yourself focused. Let's look at some other cool pictures here. Some really nice squash and stretch in the face there. See, that one's really stretched out and squashed down, stretched out wide and squashed down. Take a little break from everything, so look at some inspiration there, and then let's get back into it. should have these little hands go down a little more. So they're like touching the ground, then it lifts off. Touching the ground, get there. I have to really have them intersect with a little bit of. Touch the ground there, lift up. And touch the ground there. Okay, let's go ahead and pull the translate up a little bit. I don't feel like we're getting enough here. And translate Y. Let's go ahead and pull it down a little bit more. Let's watch that now. Maybe we'll just shrink it down altogether a little bit more. Kind of even out our curves a little bit. Got some kind of janky looking curves here. Let's go back in here. Actually, we'll go ahead and pull it back up a little bit more. I think what we want to do is have it translate Y here. Have this be down. Let's see. So we want a nice like squish right before. Just trying to figure out how we want to. So anticipate, then up can be over. Maybe we just need to accentuate I want there to be a gap in between those a little bit more, so we'll just have to accentuate the translate on the contact position a little more. Not that much, right there. Let's see. It's a funny little face. It's a cute rig, it really is. Maybe I just have the forget to have fun and play around. Animation is a very playful art form. It's very studied and concentrating art form, but in the heart of it, there's a lot of play in animation as well. So keep that in mind when you're working. Too much. Tone it down. Tone it down. Maybe let's delay it a frame too. Okay, so let's save what we're doing. Let's go ahead and play blast it and make sure. I feel like I'm not seeing this as well as I could. Since watching him play blast, so maybe we'll get a better frame rate watching the play blast instead of what we're working with. That's lagging out a little too. Watching the I think we're getting a good set here. Starting to feel alive. I feel like there might be too much up and down on those eyes now. Just watch the bottom of it. Sometimes it's good to take a look at your animation and turn off certain things so you can really focus and make sure parts of your animation are working. Let's turn them back on here. Yeah, see, that's just lagging things out today for some reason. And now let's do the opposite and see if we can get, let's create another layer. We'll hide those. Let's just watch the head. Let's turn both back on again. Got a little bit of intersection going on here. Let's see if that's something we can fix in our translates or maybe in our rotate. Go in and just do that on ones. Make sure we just get a nice slam down feel there. you didn't know what I was talking about, let's see if I can get it here again. See, there's that heel is intersecting into the ground, and that's no good. So we want to make sure that we get that. Go ahead and come back and key that on ones to make sure we're getting that feel to it. Let's go and watch it again. Maybe one other thing we could do. Let's take our rotates, translates, give us one more frame of contact and see if that feels something we can do or not. We'll hold those contacts a little more and a little less on the up and down. Yeah. Maybe we could have the landing happen one frame sooner. I just want to sell those contact positions actual on the ground for 4 frames. Don't want it to feel too jerky though. I want to go back and make sure we get this guy again. I think I want the translate Y's though to be 1 frame later. So that means too slammy on that last time. One more thing that I'd like to be able to do is really get in there and do that. So let's see if we can do what we've been doing here. I'm going to create a locator, raise it up, and I'm going to grab this little wrist thingy here, and grab that, and we're going to parent those two together. And then we're going to take let's do that again. Create another locator. So grab all the feet. By feet, I mean just wheels underneath. And we're going to grab that guy, parent it there. Let's take a step back here. Okay, there we go. I grab this and parent it to that. So let's see. Okay, that's still working. So now if we can find locator 4. Not working. Okay. Let's go back to where we were. Window, outliner, see if we can find locator 4. There we go. Grab that, parent those two together. Okay, there we go. Now we can grab locator 4. Raise it up. Just a little bit. Okay, we'll set a key there. We could raise it up here. Translate it back down to 0 there. .916. Raise them up. Raise them up. That way we can add a little bit more life into here. Just see if we get like a little bit of the heels like lean in and then kick out, squash down. To raise them up a little bit there. Set that there. these arms are going a little too much. So let's, downs are fine. I don't need them going all the way up like that. We can go ahead and just do a little bit. Let's see. I think that might be what we get out of this rig. Again, this is the CareBot rig over at Creative Crash. It's a pretty cute rig. Definitely a cute rig, one of the cuter ones that we've used. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of controllers and everything to get really some of the good movement that I was hoping to get out of there. But that being said, it was definitely a fun rig to mess around with. Look forward to seeing how it plays back at speed because I'm getting a little lag here, but I think that'll do it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you got inspired to continue to have enthusiasm and motivation and to not let struggles or difficulties, you know, pull you down or make you stop what you're doing or redo it. Just continue to stick with it and stay with it and see what you can get. Remember the whole bucket little talk that we did about you know, if the solution just isn't working, go ahead and just try and change the way that you're thinking and put a bucket in front of it if that's what you got to do to sell a scene. You know, whatever it takes to get the idea and get the whole, I don't know what I'm trying to say there, and to make it work you have to use whatever you can and try and think creatively. I think is the end result. Definitely pick up this Drawn to Life book by Walt Stanchfield. It's a great book. Sorry that we weren't able to get into more manipulators with this rig. I really wish we could have, but I think with what we had, we came up with some creative solutions and we ended up getting something that's still pretty cute overall. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Remember, if you do like what I'm doing, go ahead and throw me some thumbs up. If you have suggestions or things that I should switch up or push more of, definitely let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting out new videos, as many as or at least try to stay consistent with every day. So I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day. Remember, stay enthusiastic, stay motivated, stay inspired. Don't let things get you down. And when in doubt, put a bucket in front of it. All right. That being said, I will see you tomorrow.